Hi, welcome to Hill Ponton's video blog. I'm attorney Rachel Cheek. Today, we're going to be talking about some advice for soldiers who are going to discharge from active duty within a year. I say soldiers, but of course, any active military members. I want to talk a little bit about what to expect with regards to VA disability and some tips that I would advise, having worked with veterans very close to their discharge and very far removed, decades from their discharge. My first piece of advice, which I say to everyone at work or just family, friends, I tell everyone, if you're on active duty and you have an injury or a condition that you incurred during service, this can be, you strained your knee, you hurt your back, anxiety, any kind of mental health conditions. I know those are difficult to talk about, but if you can get information about whatever condition you're suffering with into your military records, it makes it so much easier to prove service connection, because the three elements of service connection are: first, you need a condition; second, you need an in-service incident; and third, you need a nexus linking the in-service incident to your condition. This is much easier to do the closer that you are to that incident, and especially if it's in your military records. Some of these conditions are sensitive. You don't necessarily want to report it. I know that in more recent years, we've had a more tolerant or a more evolved approach to mental health conditions, and we recognize that those are something that need treatment. They are real, and they are something that shouldn't stigmatize you. However, I know depending in which branch you're in, or just depending on your particular situation, you may not want to report it. If it's something that you cannot get into your military records, or that you go to sick call, say for a sprained ankle, and they just send you away with some Motrin without recording it, then it's really important for you to get some sort of record of this occurring. And you can do this simply by telling people. Tell your friends, tell your family members, in phone calls or letters. Let people know, hey, I got injured. Even if you don't think it's that big of a deal, if you sprain your ankle and you think, oh, okay, I'm 20, this is going to be fine, tell somebody. Tell your mom, tell your buddies, tell a sibling. Because when it comes time to proving service connection later, those are people who can offer evidence and support of your contention that this happened during service. So just because you can't get it in your military records doesn't mean you can't start making a record. So wanted to talk about what are some actual things that you can do when you're close to your discharge. You can actually file a pre-discharge disability claim before you're officially off active duty. And what this does is it helps get the ball rolling on your claim for VA benefits. It can even result in ratings being assigned before you're even discharged. So as soon as your active duty ends, your VA benefits, disability benefits, are going to kick in. There is a process, it's called processes BDD, which is benefits delivery at discharge. This is something that you can file if you were within 180 days to 90 days from your discharge. So that's 6 months roughly, or 3 months roughly, from your date of discharge. In order to apply through this process, you've got to file your service treatment records with your application. You've got to be available for an exam within 45 days of you submitting your claim, and you have to go through the separation exam process that everyone has to go through. Certain exceptions do apply to applying through the BDD process. For example, if your character of discharge is in question, or you're currently pregnant. Those are just two of several different exceptions that can take place. But for the most part, I would say go ahead and try. If you're within that 6 to 3 month period from your discharge, go ahead and file a claim. The most that they can do is say, no, we need more information. The next window that we're going to talk about is what happens if you're under 3 months from your discharge. So less than 90 days from your discharge. You can't file under the BDD process, but you can file a standard claim. And that's going to work the same way that every claim process works. You apply, you send in, what condition, you give them a little bit of information about what happened, some information about yourself. You send that off to the VA. and the process begins. You may get a CMP examination. They may ask you for more records. Eventually, decision's going to be released. Another option for recently discharged veterans, so even if you're already out of the service, a great fact that I like to tell as many people as possible as well is if you file for disability benefits within 1 year of your discharge and you're eventually granted those benefits, the effective date for those benefits is going to be the date following your last day of active duty. So say you get out February 2nd and you then file a claim in August of that same year. Normally, the effective date for a grant of service connection or increased rating, whatever you're applying for, is going to be the date that you filed the claim. But if you are within 1 year of your discharge, no matter when you file that, as long as you're within those 365 days, 366 if it's a leap year, as long as you're in that window, you are going to get the effective date of February 3rd, the day after your discharge. This is not an immediate process, regardless of which route that you take. It's always going to take time to determine the disability benefits. It's always going to take the VA more time than most people, including myself, think it should. But eventually, as long as you get the ball rolling, you will get a decision. Even if it's a denial and it's something that you have to appeal, you will still have that date, that earliest effective date possible, the date following your day of discharge. So my closing thoughts for you, points to take away. Report your in-service injuries. If you can't report them to sick call, report them to your friends and family. Let somebody know, hey, this happened to me, because later down the line, if this condition becomes chronic and you want to seek service connection, you can go back to those records or those friends and family members and get statements, get some evidence to show the connection between service and your current disability. Another important takeaway is if you're within 3 to 6 months of your discharge and you've got a condition that's not going away, or an injury, mental health condition that's bothering you, file through the BDD program, because you may even get a service connection and a rating assigned before you're even discharged. Finally, if you are just recently discharged, file your claim within a year. Maybe, okay, you don't do it right away. I'd say set 6 months to tell yourself, hey, I can take it easy. I'll try to get my civilian life settled, but you need to make sure if you've got a condition that's bothering you, you want to make sure that you can get the earliest effective date possible for that. That's achieved by filing within 1 year of your discharge. Well, that's all for today. If you watched this far, thank you so much, and make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos on VA disability benefits.